Over to you.
So Kedi, which is a documentary, Kedi, a documentary about street cats in Istanbul. Now, you know how I am about cats.
That's quite niche.
Well, you'd think, right? Okay, but, for a start, you're a cat lover, right?
No.
Okay.
You remember we had this conversation?
You like dogs, but you don't like cats.
I like dogs, I don't like cats, but I do talk to cats.
Okay, you do, that's right, yeah.
Whenever I see a cat, I say, hello, Professor McGonagall.
You say, okay, so the story with this is that these street cats are, they've been there for ages. They are part of the, of the life of the place. And the opening titles say, here there are people, whether they love them or hate them, they can't ignore them. And my feeling at the beginning was, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to meet people who love cats and people who hate cats, and that's going to be a problem because, as you know, I just love cats. In fact, what actually happens is you hear stories of people and their cats, and almost everybody that we speak to loves cats in a very sort of typical cat behaviour way. So the director grew up in Istanbul and says, my childhood was infinitely less lonesome than it would have been were it not for the cats. And I wouldn't be the person I am today. The press notes talk about the way the cats are respected in Istanbul being comparable to the way that cows are respected in India. And there is a lot of discussion about cats having a certain divinity about them. The phrase that's used is, one person says, dogs think that humans are God. Cats think that humans are God's intermediaries. And there's one gentleman that we meet in the course of this really charming documentary. I mean, slightly anthropomorphized, but what do you with the cats, right? What are you going to do? Who says there were these cats and they were, they're out and they were starving and nobody was feeding them. And I just couldn't eat my dinner unless I knew that they had been fed. And at one point I couldn't get, and I was really guilty. And somebody said, God will provide. And I thought, well, he will provide through me being the intermediary. And so what you get is, a lot of what the good lady Professor Her indoors calls, as I said, typical cat behaviour. Some of them are cuddly. Some of them are not so cuddly. One of them is actually referred to as the neighbourhood psychopath. One of them earns its keep by chasing mice. And, another one earns its keep by generally sort of rolling over and being cuddly. There's lots and lots of, mother cats protecting their territory. And there's a general worry about how, as the landscape changes, that the area in which these cats have grown up will no longer exist, that there won't be a space for them to be street cats anymore. The message at the end is that cats can teach us to love life and learn to laugh again. And if you're...
Hey?
I know you see...
Cats can what?
Cats can teach us to love life and learn to laugh again. And what?
How can they do that?
Well, because they're cats, and because there is, as I said, one of the things that the documentary manages to get to is this idea that they are somewhere between,
somewhere between.
They have an awareness of divinity because they don't look.
They don't have an awareness. What's it?
Because this is the role that they have in certain cultures.
They're cats.
Yes, and as I said, the whole thing about dogs think that humans are God, but cats think that humans are just doing God's work.
Please tell me this isn't going to be Movie of the Week.
No, it's not going to be Movie of the Week. I'm going to spoil all the sort of thrill by telling you that you know exactly what Movie of the Week is going to be.